Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So, I decided tonight to go ahead and decode Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. We already had a Mandela Effect on it. Gold, how everything still turns to gold, changed to how everything still turns to stone. And so your extracted lead, that's all you had, and it was only, oh my goodness, it was only, no, that's not far enough. It wasn't very much of a change. Um, well, I'm not seeing it right here, but it was under 1%, if I'm not mistaken. It was considerably under 1%. Uh, yeah, I'm just not seeing it, but it's here. So you had under 1% variance. You had one word changed. And gold to stone, and the O's would crossed off, and what you ended up with was GLD. You had GLD, STNE. That's what you were working with. Would it break into three categories? I'll just save you. Yeah, it did. It broke into three categories. Followed the same pattern as everything else, amazingly enough. GL is GL Group, or Group Lease Public Company Limited on the Bangkok Stock Exchange. All right, Group Lease Public Company Limited on the Bangkok. DS stands for Drive Shack Incorporated on the New York Stock Exchange. G by itself winds up being Genpact Limited on the New York Stock Exchange. LD winds up being Barclays Bank. One Path or iPath Bloom Lead ETW on the New York Stock Exchange. Their symbol's LD. ST ends up being Sensata Technologies Holding PLC on the New York Stock Exchange. S by itself we know is Sprint on the New York Stock Exchange. T by itself we know is AT&T. D by itself we know is Dominion Energy Incorporated on the New York Stock Exchange. We've had these before. NE ends up being Noble Corporation PLC on the New York Stock Exchange. N by itself ends up being Namsty Technologies Incorporated on the CLE. It's a stock. I should have looked it up, but I did not. ENT ends up being, and that's forwards, by the way, guys. We're through forwards. Now we're starting backwards. And ENT winds up being Global Eagle Entertainment Incorporated on the NASDAQ. All right. SD ends up being Sandridge Energy Incorporated on the New York Stock Exchange. LG, can't read my own writing. LG ends up being Electronics Incorporated on the Korean exchange. It's another stock market, Korea. So they're manipulating more than one market, obviously. Now we got some genetics. Big surprise, right? Because that's been happening a lot. Going forwards, GLD is the GLD1 gene. It's a tumor suppressor gene. All right. ST is ST genetics. If I'm not mistaken, it's a lab. I lost all my windows, so I'm going to have to go open them painstakingly through my history to put the links down. So this is going to be a project now, as if it wasn't already. So that's ST genetics. I think it's a genetics lab or something. TN ends up being MT-TN TN gene, and it's an RNA gene. All right. E by itself, you comes up with eGenetics, and it's a genetics database or something like that. Now coming backwards, we had the same eGenetics. Then you had NTS, which ends up being the NTS gene, and it's a protein coding gene. We've had these before, protein coding gene. DLG ends up being the DLG5 gene, and it is a protein coding gene. So there's another one. That takes you through, actually, eGenetics. Yeah, okay, that takes you through backwards. Genetics. All right. But do we have chemical? Do we have chemical? We do. We have chemical. It's here. GL ends up being GL Chemtech. They're a chemical company. Imagine that. Chemical. DS winds up being Darmstadtium on the periodic table of elements, and I really wanted to read that because it's a. I'll provide the link. It's a radioactive. It's a radioactive element discovered in quite recently, if I'm not mistaken, in the 90s, and it's supposedly only used for research. That's what I remember of reading on it. But I think I'm right about that one. I don't think I mistook it for anything else. But that's an interesting one. Then you had ST coming through forwards, and that stands for ST Chemical Company. It's another chemical company. GL Chemtech, the radioactive chemical or element, ST Chemical Company. Then you got NE, which ends up being neon on the periodic table of elements. And I thought, well, that couldn't be all that important. Why would it's just what they use in signs? No, it is not just what they use in signs. They also use it. It's some sort of an electric reactor, and they use it in lasers. That's it. That was it. Lasers and stuff. So I'll provide the link, guys. They use it for a host of things, the least of which is neon signs. Okay, so that I found that to be interesting. And then coming backwards, we went ahead. We got E by itself, and E by itself ends up being E chemicals, and it's an online chemical. You can search lots of chemical companies, and who knows what you could hit through that. All right. N by itself winds up being nitrogen on the periodic table of elements. We've had that before. TS is tennessonine on the periodic table of elements. We've had that before. I'll provide the link. DL winds up being DL Chemicals, and that's another chemical company. And LG ends up being LG Chemical Company. So you got several chemical companies on there. And out of 7 letters, we got all of this data. I got through that rather quickly because I didn't have my links to read you guys stuff, and I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for getting through rather quickly. But it did it. The 6 letters or the 7 letters broke down into 3 distinct categories: forwards and backwards. This is a pattern. So that's going to be it for this one. This was Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, Decode, Extraction Decode. And we're going to get to more. We're going to get to the songs we need to get to. We're going to get to it all, but we need to get it all done. And tonight I just decided to go ahead and decode this one. So that's what we did. And for now, guys, Thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down. Thanks for all your comments, leads, subscriptions. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your night.